flashing his brights. Now going, 60-something miles an hour, veering around that area. Strange activity here, but dangerous enough to warrant the CHP being involved. That's a very tight shot. I can't read the emblem on the front of that car. If maybe somebody could let me know.
Might even be a Kia of some sort, maybe.
It's possible. Maybe, if somebody knows, let me know, and we'll pass it along. But this vehicle can move. It can definitely accelerate. We've seen that, and quickly.
Well, the nice thing, if there is one, Mark, that he's on the freeway now. So the endangerment to the public on those residential streets has now been diminished greatly. The traffic's light. CHP can stay behind him and basically just wait him or her out.
Yeah. And this is a black, what appears to be, I'm told, a Kia sedan. Don't know the model yet, but it's a Kia, and it's got some kind of interesting light package that allows it to flash the high beams at that kind of a strange kind of almost a strobe effect. Or else he's just got to he can do his high beams really fast. Maybe he just got that kind of skill. I don't know. But the speeds are high. Now he's on the westbound 10 freeway. He was spending a lot of time in downtown, then a lot of time in East Los Angeles, Boyle Heights, now heading back toward downtown. And we don't know where beyond that. Oh, I'm hearing from a good friend of mine.
It's hard to get any word in with this clown.
E-Money 7. So that may be what we're looking at. I'm not sure. I've never. Yep, that looks like it. He just sent me a picture of one. All right. So looks like a Kia K5, black in color. Thank you, Mike, for the update. And now we know at least what the vehicle is that's being pursued. It is looks like a compact sedan. And it has some pretty good speed as it now heads in the, this is still on the 10 freeway in the Pico Union area. So this is heading, again, closer into downtown, westbound on the 10 freeway. So kind of in the area where he was earlier, that was in the downtown section, but we don't know if he's going to stay there, if he's going to get off and circle around there. Hoover Street, western Vermont, he's heading into the West Adams area, into the Mid-City area. Again, on the 10 freeway westbound. Now you can clearly see those CHP units directly behind him, directly in pursuit of what is apparently a Kia K5. Speed slowing down somewhat, mid-60s. He's got his hand out the window. Proceed as if he is, of course. Bruce, now that they're on the 10 freeway, does that change the tactical approach to this?
You really, on the freeway, you can do a pit maneuver. However, that's not an advisable maneuver. In this case, CHP seems very content to stay behind him. The speeds are not outrageous yet. I think, like you said, he's in the 60s. So in this case, it just becomes a pursuit. It becomes a wait-and-see game. We'll have multiple units behind the suspect vehicle. They'll hand off as necessary as they can as this continues to transverse westbound.
All right, continuing westbound. If he continues this way, he's going to end up in Santa Monica, and then the freeway will end, and he will either be forced to go north or south on Lincoln or one of those streets that is at or near the end of the 10 freeway. He's got a ways to go before that happens. He's in the Crenshaw, the 10 freeway in Crenshaw. This is basically mid-city. If he continues, he's going to hit La Brea and areas to the west of.
dangerous.
This is something else, and this is where officers have to make another call to perhaps back off.
Oh my God!
Whoa! And now just that intersection, he was able to really needle through there without any significant damage, but that was very dangerous there. Crenshaw Boulevard, southbound on Crenshaw Boulevard here, coming away from the 10 freeway.
All right, if you're just joining us, you're watching the Fox 11 News at 10, and we are following a pursuit right now. This started as a reckless driving want with this car apparently doing a bunch of donuts around police vehicles. It's been continuing now for at least 45 minutes. And now this driver once again on the wrong side of the road.
Right across the intersection again. And with each and every second, really, now again, that this pursuit continues, it just poses more of a threat to the general public, and really ripping now, picking up speeds there. You can see with our extreme nav system in the West Adams area on Crenshaw Boulevard and Exposition. That looked like a sheriff's deputy there. And all units on the ground, there's an all call out. I'll tell you that all units are being told what's happening.
Why? Why is he driving
look at
like
that,
this?
against traffic again. We don't, trying to flee from police for every minute.
The road's wide open.
He's not in custody. He thinks he could perhaps get away. But again, the mental stability of this individual, is obviously in question. Anybody who runs from police, their mental state isn't good. But something like this is really dangerous, and we just don't know what we're dealing with.
And as we've seen sometimes with some of these suspects, they may have experience, with law enforcement in the past, and they may see this as a joyride. They may have been behind bars before and know that they're going back behind bars. So let's make this as fun as possible while they're running, and it's almost treating this like a video game.
Making a right turn, but now I'm doing that 180 back and making a loop at the intersection of Crenshaw and MLK Jr. Boulevard. Stopping right there. Let's see. They had a chance, and now that it slows down a little bit, but there still is a lot of traffic out there, to the point that officers have to be so careful if they do try to conduct that pit maneuver. If they spin this vehicle out, they don't want to hit anybody else. They don't want to hit a pedestrian, a bicyclist on the sidewalk or on the street, or any other motorist at this point. We're on Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. We are now heading eastbound through the Leimert Park area of Los Angeles.
I'm wondering what message this driver is trying to send to law enforcement, because the way this driver's been going on the other side of the road, there's been no reason.
He's just playing cat and mouse. He's really toying with these officers.
Yeah, this is like this guy is raising a middle finger to law enforcement almost. And this whole thing feels like an episode from Fast and the Furious or something, the way this person is just driving like a movie stuntman.
And those are speed bumps there. Yeah. And now we're in a purely residential area of Leimert Park here, slowing down, picking up speeds.
Will the speed bumps allow for a pit maneuver?
Yeah.
There's not a lot of room, though, on that street.
Still has its hazards up, but the one thing is there isn't much in the way of traffic. So we'll see right here. This is a good opportunity. A little bit.
There we go.
Not quite.
Didn't work.
Damage the back end.
Didn't work.
Look at the bumper, though.
Whoa.
The trailing bumper, now making a left turn. Look at that.
Are we done?
Yeah, I don't know. Look at that.
Sparks are going to be flying.
He's waving up.
Soon.
I think he's gesturing to the helicopters, perhaps, to the officers.
Enjoying this.
It really is a joyride. It's unclear if he knows his neighborhood at all. Again, it started in Glendale. Those are the speed bumps again. Over those. CHP is still the lead on this. LAPD is involved as well. This is the Los Angeles Police Department's jurisdiction. Continues to wave up. Unclear. The windows are tinted if he is the only one in there. We haven't gotten confirmation of that, but it appears that is the case, and it does appear to be a male. Continues to wave. Trailing bumper here that was damaged with that attempted pit maneuver by that lead officer. Now making a left turn back on MLK Jr. Boulevard, Leimert Park, 9th and Creed Avenue in Leimert Park now. Residential area of L.A.
You know what? No regard for humanity on this. Alex, you talked about the signal to law enforcement, but really no regard for anybody there on the streets in their own vehicle, perhaps walking across the street at this late hour, dark out. The way that driver was taking those wide moves when it was unnecessary. He wasn't avoiding cars going into the wrong direction, the wrong lanes. He was just taking wide moves just to make a move.
Slowing down a little bit here, but this is really a dangerous situation, obviously. And as he stays in a residential area and the same residential area, if you perhaps live in this neighborhood, please stay inside. Don't come out, try to record it, because you're going to put yourself into danger. And you could get in the way of law enforcement trying to bring this to an end so that no innocent individuals get injured.
Well, so far, this driver has had remarkable control of this vehicle, given the amount of theatrics.
Here he
that
goes
this
again,
person
maybe a
has
pit.
pulled off.
Maybe a pit again. He's doing a 180 around that island, that boulevard.
But you wonder, again, to my point, pretty good control there of the vehicle. You wonder, though, if because of the damage to the bumper, we know that the front of the car was hit at one point when there was a crash, will the car itself start to literally fall apart and make it harder for this driver to keep control?
Well, he made that one impact on the driver's side, the front driver's side, with that vehicle a little bit ago. And, of course, we saw the damage done to the bumper by the lead CHP. Yeah, it's
some sort of like auto detail this person has.
It's really interesting at this point. And again, we don't know if this car is stolen. It didn't come down as a stolen vehicle at first. It just came down as a guy driving recklessly through Glendale. They lit him up. The pursuit was on. He didn't pull over. And then this pursuit made its way, if you're just tuning in, south into downtown LA, East Los Angeles, on the 10, the 60, 10 westbound, exiting at Crenshaw Boulevard, south on Crenshaw Boulevard, into Jefferson Park, now into Leimert Park, and south LA. Cat and mouse again, Alex and Christine. Look at this. He slows down, speeds up. There's officers crawling all over this neighborhood as well. Tight residential streets.
Mm-hmm. You know, as long as the driver is going at slower speeds here, a better attempt to make a pit maneuver. If this driver gets back on the freeway, they lose that opportunity. The light's flashing now. Slowing down just a bit. You have to wonder if the car is in good enough shape still, if there is enough gas in the car. This is the slowest we've seen, Rick.
And I said that, it's unclear if we know if this driver knows this neighborhood or not, but sometimes they do go to neighborhoods that they're familiar with. They think they could dive out. There's that custom strobe light again with the hazards on. Through this South LA neighborhood, residential neighborhood on Van Ness Avenue at 41st Street, 41 streets south of 1st Street, 1st Street starting on the north end of downtown LA, all the way to the 200s south in the harbor area. Very slow, very narrow street. That is a two-way street, this residential area. Now, even stopping, completely different from what we saw just a bit ago.
So, I said that I thought this guy was metaphorically trying to give the officers the finger. Now I'm seeing some reports that he was actually giving the officers the finger as part of this, just to confirm the flipping of the bird from this driver now showing off his strobe lights.
Slowing down in the middle of the intersection, just stopping. He's like, hey, come on, officers. It really does look like he's taunting the officers.
He clearly is. Clearly is enjoying this.
And he's not
clearly trying to put on a show, and would not be surprised if he's had some interaction with officers over the course of his life before. This isn't his first rodeo.
The sad reality of this taunting of law enforcement we talk about is that this person could kill somebody.
There's no question.
In the intersection. Well, my concern is the innocent person.
Right, yeah.
Innocent person who's driving home late at night for whatever reason and doesn't know what's happening, and that's the part that's not funny or fun at all.
It's awful, and we've seen a number of situations like that over the years. I have, flying up in Skyfox for all those years, and that is why certain agencies employ this method where they back off, at least their ground units back off, in hopes that would de-escalate the situation. And now you can clearly tell this guy wants to escalate it. He's all, where are you, officers? Come on, I'm going to start doing my loops again. I got my strobes on, my hazards on here, doing donuts in the intersection of Arlington and Vernon Avenue, which is a relatively busy intersection there at Leimert Park. Come on and get me. Let's do this.
Well, and the challenge for law enforcement, of course, is there's a little you know, damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? If they are on top of him and then there's some sort of crash that happens, they could be blamed for that. But if they let him do his thing and then he hits into somebody, some might say, why didn't you stop this when you had a chance? So it's a really tough position. Well, if you put yourself in the position of law enforcement.
Let me add to that, Alex. We don't know who we're dealing with. Does this person have a weapon?
We don't know.
How crazy are they when they get out of this car?
Does he have wants? Serious wants?
Clearly not a fan of police.
No.
Based off of the activities
and speaking of which,
the middle fingers.
It looks like units have backed off. He just did a illegal, well, not an illegal turn, but an unsafe left turn there in front of that tow truck there. Stopping here on the corner of Vernon Avenue and 7th, now backing up into the intersection here. What I'm not seeing, and what I like that I'm not seeing, is there are not a lot of individuals lining the sidewalks here. We have seen that in the past, trying to record, trying to wave at the suspect being pursued, because that is a really dangerous situation that you're putting yourself into, and officers as well. There's one pedestrian there in the upper left corner of the screen there. We're looking tight with our camera there up in Skyfox. And you can see that the driver has really backed off on speeds, and he's just looking for officers.
So we've been told that the CHP backed off. That's who the ones that were
the lead
on top of him as the lead. The question now, they're waiting to see if the LAPD will take over on these side streets now. But right now, not much of a law enforcement presence, and it's interesting that this driver is reacting by not doing much when he thinks that he's not, you know, facing the police.
The Hyde Park area of Los Angeles, now 8th and 46 with our extreme nav system. You could follow along geographically as we do with this pursuit. Even though the ground units have backed off, the airship is still up there, and they are tracking this individual, and they will see where he finally decides to pull off into, and then they will put those ground officers back down towards that vicinity, 48th Street and 9th in Hyde Park.
So we don't have this coming in as a stolen car. Wondering if law enforcement perhaps has a feel for who this driver is due to the license plate or any background information. Also, Rick, the thought of a spike strip, which they could do at these speeds on surface streets, is hard because it's wide open. It's a wide street. The person could evade the spike strip. And also, the way they've been going in other lanes, they could easily drive right around it.
That's right, and this does give them a little bit more in the way of opportunities to hopefully bring the suspect into custody and bring this pursuit to an end without any more damage at this point. You could see the rail system right there, Crenshaw Boulevard and 48th here in the Hyde Park area. And again, it seems like it's worked in terms of the units on the ground backing off, and this driver now has just decided to just meander around, still doing some unsafe turns, and just sitting in that intersection is unsafe at this point.
Yeah.
And now making a hard left there. Crenshaw Boulevard and Westmont Avenue, now on Crenshaw Boulevard there in Hyde Park. So a busy street, a divided street there. That's the Expo line that runs through that part of town there. And now doing a 180 again, back in the opposite direction. There's your strobe lights again, wrong way. It really does appear, as that bumper continues to trail on the back end of that vehicle, it looks like, you know, Ford is obviously a Ford sedan of some sort. Units are in the area, even though we're not seeing them. LAPD knows this is going on. They got a heads up several minutes ago. So even though we're not seeing their presence right now from our picture, focusing in on this suspect as he tries to still perhaps dip into somewhere and get away. 18% of individuals being pursued on average, at least the LAPD numbers, are able to get away. Now pulling off to the right here on Crenshaw Boulevard.
So if LAPD is watching from the air, they know where this car is. They can just kind of wait this out and follow him from the air. If it's not a stolen car, what's he going to just ditch his car?
Yeah, I mean, because that's the thing, right? I mean, this driver, they can wait him out. I mean, he's only got so much gas. This car's starting to fall apart, right?
And, come on,
and it's almost like a bull, like a matador with the and a bull.
Good analogy there,
like
Alex.
Trying to bring him there and trying to go back and forth, but ultimately, you know, I don't know if this guy's the bull or the matador.
And you can see the damage. You could really see because that was illuminated pretty well. That front and
hanging out
passenger
on
side.
train tracks is not the smartest
No,
place
it's
to
not.
stay either.
Crenshaw Boulevard there, the Expo line there that extends from USC, from the downtown area west towards the west side, and
Santa
now
Monica.
this is something else. Again, LAPD units they
think
are
it's
nearby. Sometimes they'll even black out their units, turn off all their lights so that they're not seen. And what they'll try to do, there's a unit there traveling on the opposite side of Crenshaw Boulevard. He sees them. There's another CHP unit. He's like, hey, here I am. I'm going to do another donate here. Right at the intersection of Crenshaw and 50th Street there.
How long can the driver do this before boredom sets in? Obviously, the streets are wide open, so there's a little bit of more of a safety feature that they're having to look at here.
It must be pretty
He's
loud
waiting
in
for
that
the
car,
cops.
too, with the
He wants
bumper
the cops
grinding
there.
against the ground.
Oh, yeah. It appeared that he was holding a cell phone as well. So in situations like this, perhaps he's in contact with a friend, a family member. We hear about that. And perhaps somebody knows who this is and are giving intel to officers on what they're dealing with. We don't know what kind of day this individual had. We don't know if the officers know too much about him. Wow, and that was just a motorist just driving by and doing their thing.
And that's dangerous for other motorists. You don't know what's happening as you pull up on a car sitting in the middle of the road with their bumper hanging off.
You want to get away from it probably as fast as possible. And you see the choppers overhead, but you really don't know what you're in the middle of.
And the thing you have to think of as well with situations like this, you just don't know. We don't know what the picture froze is. Sometimes we see what we call suicide by cop, where you have people who are running and engaging with police, like this guy's just taunting officers and want to get hurt.
So this is, as we get our signal fixed, this is some video from earlier if you want to are just joining us.
Regard for safety in this case.
All these announcers are boring. Why'd I call them announcers?
All right. Well, as he continues, this is Crenshaw and 50th Street in Leimert Park. Flashing his brights on a nearly empty street.
Hey,
Now
you
you got
guys
people coming
stupid?
out getting pictures of them. People are out with their cell phones, so now that's the next stage of this.
Dangerous are they willing to be? Are they carrying a weapon? I mean, if I'm law enforcement, I'm really thinking about how much distance I need to keep here for officer safety.
Right, because they have time on their side, right? I mean, they've got a whole lot of vehicles. So
That's
this
right.
guy could run out of gas.
Well, I think this is a
guy
replay.
could crash his car. This guy, who knows? Now we're going to go back live. Our signal's been fixed, and here we are looking. Sorry about that. At least for a second, at that driver continuing to move,
There we go. That's live. This is live right now. Back on surface streets here.
Yeah.
It's a little confusion there in terms of what we're seeing here. This is live. We're back
This
live
needs to
again.
wrap up.
This is definitely live. Slauson Avenue and Victoria Street in Hyde Park.
What does
Picking
this
up
say?
speeds again.
What does this say that the driver has been staying in this area? Remember, this pursuit started in Glendale, took us all the way to Southgate, Boyle
lying.
Heights, and now kind of circling in this area that is kind of the similar kind of neighborhood-ish.
It is, and part of the problem right now is our signal breaks up as we're getting into LAX airspace. That's the approach to LAX, and our helicopter has to be very careful and be in touch with air traffic controllers through this vicinity, and typically have to fly at a very low altitude. And we always like altitude. Altitude is our friend for obvious issues, mechanical issues. If they
Okay, problem now, he's really flying.
It's not me, Britt.
So that is problematic. Now he's stopped again.
Oh, it's somebody else.
Yeah, CHP re-engaging. Re-engaging right there. So this is on Slauson. Slauson is in East-West Street. Sorry, I lost my bearings there, everybody. Slauson and Rimpaw, this is View Park, Windsor Hills area of Los Angeles. Again, residential. You see people on the street walking. Saw somebody trying to duck out of the way there. He's doing it again, going into oncoming lanes. And we're all watching this unfold. We're going to be on the air on ABC7 in about 20 seconds, so give me a second to reorient myself, and we'll continue with our coverage of this pursuit.
They better not go to the news.
This is Eyewitness News with live breaking news.
Breaking news right now following this wild police pursuit that started in Glendale, and I had a very strange participation in this that I will share with you in just a moment. I'm Mark Brown. This is Eyewitness News at 10:30. We're live right now on ABC7, ABC7.com, and streaming live on the ABC7 Los Angeles app and Hulu Live. This pursuit began a little more than an hour or so ago, and I can tell you that right now we are in the Hyde Park area of Los Angeles. That vehicle being pursued, a Kia K5 sedan. And you see the bumper damage, the bumper that is hanging off the rear of the vehicle. That is from a pit maneuver that we can show you that happened just about 20 or so minutes ago. As it is in residential areas. This is a person who has been doing donuts, driving erratically, driving at high speeds, driving on the wrong side of the road, running red lights, and putting people in danger. There has been at least one sideswipe contact with another vehicle, and at least one person has had to run for their life to get out of the way. I can tell you this, that as I was on my way into work this evening at ABC7, the pursuit driver drove right at me. It's on Flower Boulevard, our station located near Flower and Sonora in the city of Glendale. That driver veering right towards me, flashing his brights. I could hear the squealing of his tires as he headed right at me. I veered to the right to get out of the way. He tracked me and continued as if to head straight toward me, and I ended up going down a side street to get out of the way of this pursuit. It continued and continued for quite a while, as it does now.
This is lying.
What we're seeing is a driver that has gone through Glendale, Chinatown, Boyle Heights, East LA, Leimert Park, and now the Hyde Park area of Los Angeles. Pursued at various times by Burbank police in a helicopter, Glendale police on the ground, and the CHP both on the ground, and we believe in the air as well. And so what we're seeing here is that driver in that Kia K5. We believe it's a male wearing a white or light-colored long-sleeve shirt at the wheel of this vehicle. The hazard lights have been on throughout. He has occasionally flashed his brights, but his normal headlights are off. We don't know what the reason is for this, although what we have been able to see thus far is it appears that he is at times trying to just taunt police into following him. Trying to taunt the police because he's not really trying to get away. There have been various times where he has, where they have backed off, and instead of just running or getting out of the vehicle or trying to in some way distance himself from the police, he has turned around, flashed his brights, and waited, and then done donuts in intersections. So this is someone who appears to want to be pursued by police, appears to want the attention of both police and perhaps the news media helicopters that are overhead. And this is the result. We're now on 57th and Chesley Avenue in Hyde Park, a residential area. And joining me now is Bruce Thomas, our law enforcement expert who has been with us on many a pursuit over the years and has been with us on this one tonight. And this is a strange one, isn't it, Bruce?
Yes, it is, Mark. Every pursuit we seem to see gets more bizarre. In this case, you have a guy who, he's driving erratically, but for no reason. He's on the wrong side of the road, as you mentioned, doing donuts. He's just taunting law enforcement, and now CHP has re-engaged, showing an interest in this guy. And I think we're going to see maybe some more pit maneuvers, a little more aggressive tactics.
Right, because we really can't let this continue. And the problem is they back off, and he slows down, but then he just speeds up. And what we saw the last time they backed off was that he at one point got onto a straightaway like he is here, and then just for no reason at all went into oncoming traffic at probably 60 miles an hour. And you can't let that go unanswered or unpursued for very long. And
so is
that
he going
was
to get a ticket for every red light he runs?
Made CHP re-engaging No sign yet of the LA Police Department. This is in Los Angeles, and it has been in Los Angeles for most of this pursuit. We have not seen LAPD's presence here. We've seen other agencies. We don't know if there's a mutual aid situation. We know that we can assume that the LAPD has been alerted. They know about it. They are presumably nearby, keeping an eye on this from the air and from the ground as well. But as far as the active ground level pursuit, that has been by the CHP and earlier by Glendale Police Department. Now he is on Crenshaw and 60th in the Hyde Park area. You see the lone occupant of that vehicle in that tight shot there. One male, we believe, in a white or light colored shirt, who has been driving in a very, very erratic fashion for the better part of almost 2 hours now.
You know, Mark, oftentimes you'll see these pursuit suspects under the influence of narcotics and or alcohol. And even though they're impaired, they're still able to drive the vehicle at high rates of speed and do some of the things we've seen, but obviously their judgment is clouded.
All right, so what we're hearing now from, that you forgive my silence there for a moment, I was getting some new information. What we're told by the CHP is that the suspects, a relative of the suspect has been in contact with them and told them that the suspect is bipolar and he is having a manic episode right now. And that is the reason for the erratic driving, the completely erratic behavior. He is a bipolar individual who is having a manic moment here, a manic episode. And that would explain a lot about the nature of the driving and the fact that there's no discernible reason for this pursuit, no discernible reason for the behavior other than some sort of mental breakdown, and that appears to be what is happening, a manic episode involving a bipolar individual. The CHP is aware of this. This will factor into how they end up dealing with this individual once he is caught, once he either runs out of gas,
oh my God, imagine
God forbid gets into an accident and stops, or if they manage to stop the pursuit with a pit maneuver. However it ends, they're going to be looking at somebody who is undergoing a mental health crisis, and they will have to resort to or revert to whatever training they have in that. And that level of training is something that is something that we have to wonder about with varying departments. Some departments have a lot of training in that. Some departments have less. Some departments have specific individuals who are very kind of well versed in dealing with people who are undergoing a mental health crisis. They may have crisis teams, but that may be a part of the response to this. But right now, CHP in pursuit. The man is driving now down Slauson and approaching Halldale in the Harvard Park area. This is just south of the mid-city area of Los Angeles. And I can't tell if the CHP has backed off yet again, or if they are still engaging in the pursuit. If we could swing out wide a little bit, we'll be able to tell if
he's been driving for 2 hours. How much gas he has?
Is still directly behind him. Doesn't appear to be. They may have backed off. The problem that we have seen, Bruce, is that they back off for a time, and that's usually to try to cool things down, and that's a tactic that's well known, that we've all seen. But it doesn't seem to cool him down for very long, if at all.
Yeah, you know, Mark, everything you just said about the driver, having some sort of mental episode, whether he's bipolar,
I bet I would have been dead an hour
ago.
ago.
All factors into this pursuit because you don't want to scare him any more than he's already scared. He's already panicked. He's already exhibited that. So by backing using a lot of the mental health training that they've received mandated by the state of California. But, this definitely changes a lot of the tactics.
Yeah. We are approaching LAPD's airspace, the terminal control area of LAPD, so that's going to be something that, or LAX rather. Did I say LAPD? I meant LAX, sorry. And so that may affect our ability to continue in that direction. But
Super
now we're
TF
on,
Lake, 300
Slauson
miles.
and Innskeep. This is the Firestone, Florence area, and I believe this is becoming the LA County Sheriff's jurisdiction, if I'm not mistaken, Bruce. Not that
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Yeah, or LA County Sheriff's jurisdiction.
All right, you saw a pedestrian there crossing the street. Maybe not aware of what they're looking at here. And again, this is now someone that we have been told by the Highway Patrol is bipolar. A relative has indicated to them that this person, the man at the wheel, is bipolar and undergoing a manic episode, which would explain the erratic driving, the erratic behavior, and the aimlessness of this pursuit. The danger, though, no matter what the motive or the reason behind it, is very real, because he's at the wheel of this vehicle, and it's a danger to everyone around. Now,
how has he not gotten a wreck
54th
yet?
Street, South Park area of Los Angeles. This is a residential area. Look how fast he's going, around 50 miles an hour. And there are people out. We've seen people out walking around in various parts of the city this evening. He is stopped at a red light. I think that's the first red light that I've seen him stop at this entire process.
Correct on that. He all of a sudden he's now obeying a traffic law, which is good. Maybe he's going to calm down. Maybe he's going to become more rational and just pull over and let the authorities take him into custody, which is something they're having the conversation about, how to deal with this individual who is maybe manic depressive, bipolar, and does have some mental health issues.
All right, and so as he goes behind those buildings there, we've lost the visual temporarily. We hope to regain it. This is 54th and Avalon.
Sometimes they just say, you know what, I'm out of here. They'll pull off to the right, especially if they don't see units behind them, and then they'll just go for a run and try to evade officers that way. It's dark. There's a lot of places to hide at this time. But again, the airship is watching. They will send units to that neighborhood. Perhaps they'll deploy a canine unit there to bring that suspect into custody. We do believe it's just the one driver at this point, but that has not been confirmed. And that suspect, who was initially lit up for driving recklessly up in Glendale, appears to be a male, but that hasn't been confirmed.
I mean, you got to think about the adrenaline that's pumping through this driver's body. I mean, I don't know about you, but if you ever, certainly when I've been pulled over for minor traffic things in the past, I feel like I'm about to die because I'm like my heart is beating so fast. You can imagine at this level, for this long, this precise, through all these different intersections. This is some of the video earlier. You're looking at the bigger box now to give you a sense, if you're just joining us, of how dangerous this person's been driving for so long. And at some point, as you mentioned, Rick, the person's got to get tired. But Christine, what we don't know is what kind of enhancements this person may have, because in terms of drugs or alcohol or other things that may make them feel a little different than the average person.
And that wasn't just any intersection. That was Alameda and Cesar Chavez there. So that was a very busy intersection, just doing donuts, loops around that intersection.
Are we out? Are we out of the car now?
Looks
Yeah,
like
out of
they're
the car.
full.
Something's going on there. There's CHP units there. That vehicle that we're seeing does not look like the same vehicle that was being pursued. At least they're, no, it looks like they do. Yep, they do have they're lighting somebody up there on the side. And it looks like they may have taken this driver into custody.
Good news. Yeah.
Wow.
All right, this pursuit is over. Driver in custody. You know, why that driver stopped at that location, we don't know. And I couldn't tell at first if the driver was completely stopped or starting to still move up a little bit, but we have confirmation here at Fox 11 that the driver is in custody. And Alex, as we watch this pursuit, the good news here is nobody got seriously hurt in this.
Which is wild. So CHP, the agency that is bringing
That's
that
like a,
driver into custody, we have not seen
bad
any
ending.
indication
I
of
feel like it's
anybody else
horrible to
in
say,
that
but
vehicle. All right, so
Moving on.
we move from that to gas prices.
but they didn't even catch it. They missed the part where they got him. All right, no movie tonight. What do you mean movie night, bro? I literally went live just to watch that with you guys, okay?
Watch a movie. That's amazing.
I'm not watching a movie.
Watch a movie.
I'm not playing Elden Ring. Please, Eric, can you please throw water at Brittany? Why?
What the fuck?
All right. See you later.